Hello everyone, T-Man978. After talking to some folks online and fooling around myself, I found out that these guys have some weapon storage and whatnot that I didn't know that they had in these vehicle modes that I didn't show off. So I wanted to revisit them and definitely show off these guys' capabilities that I don't believe that it's even in the instruction manuals either. And I also wanted to show off Ultra Prime with the Stunticons attached because I didn't show that off. And I wanted to show different robot configurations for Menasor and Ultra Prime. So stay tuned if you'd like to see that. And I'm going to start things off with Breakdown because he has the most interesting weapon storage to me. Breakdown. I mentioned that he gave off a Sunstreaker vibe with this gun weapon right here. And I placed it like this. But what I didn't know is if I would have taken things a step further, he has like two little tiny pegs right there and two tiny peg holes right there. If you slot these into place right here on top and then peg this thumb back here, it goes even further. So if this was a yellow Lamborghini and this was a chromed out hand, that would definitely be more of a Sunstreaker than ever. So this pretty much confirms for me a Sunstreaker repaint. It wouldn't be accurate in robot mode, but in vehicle mode, yeah. And now you're left with this sword. And you're wondering, what should I do with this? I could put it in here right here. I could put it right here. But what I just discovered is this little peg right here can actually slot into this cut right here. So now he has a side-mounted sword gun. Let me get him to robot mode. Robot mode, having discovered this little slit right there in that port, he can carry his gun sword right there on his shoulder. And I mentioned that this is also giving off a Sunstreaker vibe. If you port this weapon right here into that little port right there. What I didn't know is if you bend everything out like this, you can take things a step further. He has two little notches on both sides. You can slot them in between the plastic right here and push it even more flush up against his back, giving off, yet again, a more Sunstreaker vibe. Let's get to the next spot. Drag strip, and this one I feel crazy about, but I hadn't seen it done and I don't think it's in the instruction manual. This guy right here, he has a little port right there. All you have to do is peg that onto this, which I totally ignored in vehicle mode. And then you can just bring the thumb down like that, and now he has a weapon on the top. Now as far as this sword, I haven't figured out anything for this. I know this side looks like a gun barrel, but if he's holding it in his hand, it's at an angle he would be holding the gun down like that. So I haven't figured out anything for this at all, besides to just put it like this, or put it out to the side like this, or have it back here just jutting out like maybe it's some type of fire exhaust that's purple. And I haven't figured out anything extra for robot mode besides just pegging this right there, but that's not exciting. So let me get to off-road. Off-road, this is what your natural instincts have you do, or maybe even something like this or this. But I also discovered, or was told, that there's a slot right there, a port right there, and this thing right there, which you're wondering off top, what do you do with this? Duh. I can't believe I didn't discover this. You could put it just like that, but fold the hand up. Storage. So it's like he has an engine on the back right there. And of course, if you wanted to, just to be mean, you could force the new guy to carry all the weapons. As you can see, Breakdown's weapon is a totally different purple. I already mentioned that, but I can really see that. So I wanted to mention it again. Another side note, all the combiner weapons have at least one piece of plastic to let you know which bot they go to. Like, you know that's off-road because of that teal. Because of that purple, you know that's drag strip. There's some gray on here to let you know that that's dead end. And you just have to remember this ugly off-color purple goes with Breakdown. To round it off, in case you're wondering, I haven't found out anything for dead end here. Just this other configuration for the hand weapon right there. Make some anti-aerial bot gun right here, like shoot down area bots. Anywho, let's get to the combiners. And now we revisit this beast. I put him into what I feel is a better configuration. His proportions don't look as crappy. He still has all the same problems, but he looks way better. The legs don't look as goofy. The chest looks better. It just looks way better proportioned. Now, one problem I'll mention is these feet don't help anything. Not having ankle pivot on this guy is... it's something that shouldn't be excused. But one thing I want to get into first, these two guys. Never, ever make either one of them arms. They both suck as arms. Because the forearms will just keep unhinging. They don't stay pegged together. These two are good in both modes. Like nice and solid, and dead end. I mean, Breakdown is nice and tight. I feel like he'll probably stay that way forever. I have him holding Ultra Prime's gun, if you're wondering. You probably already knew that since you're here and you're already a Transformers fan. But anywho, what else can I mention? Drag strip. I mentioned that he is hindered as far as shoulder articulation. Anytime you want to move these arms, I would grab this part because it just comes unhinged. If you move these parts of drag strip's arms back towards the wheels, you can get a bigger range of motion than you had before. Before they were up here, so they was just kept banging. But like I said, anytime you want to move these arms, hold this back, hold this part right here. It'll just get all flimsy and loopy. Anything else of note? Motormaster's leg joints are still weak, so you can attempt to do some wide-legged stances, and now he has hip swivel, which is awesome. But because of the feet, you might still have trouble with him standing and keeping these poses. And plus, like I said, it's really loose right there, so it might rock forward or fall. But if you play around with the ankle joints, you can eventually get to something you like, or something that looks better than just standing there. And this guy still doesn't like to stay on, but with him out of the way, it kind of looks a little crazy because you get to see this top part of the hip, what would be the hip joints. Well, let me do another configuration. I like this configuration as well with Motormaster's legs turned to the front. But like I said, these ankles don't help anything at all. If he had ankle pivot, he would be a little bit more stable and keep these poses a little bit. Like, you can move the legs about that much before they bump into the crotch. But like I said, these ankles don't help anything. We could bring the toe down to try to help. But yeah, I mean, he's a little bit stable. He's a lot more stable than his original configuration, as you can see. Because I couldn't even get him to stand like that at all in his original configuration. But if you fool around, you can do a lot more. And these feet still don't like to stand there in the place. So when the third party comes out with whatever they're coming out with, their feet that do have ankle pivot, I don't know what they're going to do to make them actually stay pegged in tight. I hope they are able to figure out something. Now let me connect some of these Stunticons to Ultra Prime, since I never showed that off. And here we have Ultra Prime combined with the Stunticons. And amazingly, he is way more stable and less flimsy than Menasor. I mean, look at this. No falling over. I mean, if you do it hard enough, he's going to start leaning. And one thing I wanted to mention, these little flaps, they don't stay tabbed in super duper tight. But it doesn't have that problem. Well, hold on. Didn't want to waste time tabbing these back into place, but as you can see, these are perfectly aligned, these flaps, unlike on Motormaster. And if you're wondering, here's Blackjack. Yeah, he doesn't stay on him either. But on this leg, the joint stays tight for me. It's like really freaking tight. But over here, it's way more loose. It's barely even holding on. But let me get this in here. Oh lordy. But this is what he looks like with the chest closed. And the feet can still be a problem. And the way the hip ratchets are is a problem. But there he is with the chest closed. Let me bring his arm down. This was staying tighter than Menasor before, but it just came loose, which is unfortunate. Let's move this arm. See, I can move this arm. And the shoulder's still staying in there. Alright. This one is a bit more tight. I mean, the actual shoulder joint is tight, which is pulling it out of socket back here. Which it wasn't doing at first, but it's happening now. And as you can see, those hand connections are frustrating as hell. It just keeps falling off. Anywho, let me change his legs around to show that off. Now this is cool a little bit. Like I said before, that lack of ankle pivot kills everything. Because of the ratchets in these hips right there, it makes getting his legs into a good position tough. Like they're either too close together so that these legs are bumping into each other, or they're too far apart and not having any ankle pivot. You have to basically lean him up against something. And dude, these feet do not work on a smooth surface. Under this paper is a tiled table, and he can't stand up worth crap on that because they just constantly slide. Let me bring this down. Well, let me rotate his legs around to show the other option. Oh man, back on there. the alternative with the legs spent around. I don't know if that's better for anybody, but there's that. These feet just want to slide, slide, slide. Oh gosh. Yeah, this mold, they should have spent way more time on this mold right here. It is so frustrating. But this might be a little bit better for some people. Well, anyway, I'm not going to keep fooling around with these things. If you liked any of this, give me a like. Until next time, T-Man978 out of here.